installation of the Seidon 240 is going to begin with some prep work of the unit itself. First off, backplate. The 4 bolts have 3 notches and slide into place: 1366, 1155, 1156, and 775. You're going to want to set them for whatever socket you're going to be using. We're using 1155. You can see the notches on the rear, and we'll just set them for the 1155 setting. Next, we're going to need to install your retention brackets. And retention bracket itself is going to go with screws facing down onto the pump. Or I should say, these screws facing the contact plate down. You line it up, there's 2 screws on each side. And bracket will screw into place. And we'll then repeat it on the other side. It's going to go a little easier if you take off the plastic cover. Tighten it down and you're good to go. So this way, when the pump goes in, you'll have the bolts mounted to the back plate. It'll be able to screw into position. Next, we're actually going to attach the fans prior to the installation. Typically, what we see in the all-in-one liquid coolers is the fans going on with the radiator into the case, with the fan going against the case, screw going through the fan and into the radiator. However, the Seidon 240 manual clearly depicts the fans on the radiator on the bottom prior to going in, so we're just going to go at it that way. And 4 screws. Will tighten down. Now, if you are doing the fans against the case, you will be using the anti-vibration rubber mounting that we saw. And naturally, we'll put in all 8 screws and they will get tightened into place with both fans in place. Be very careful, match fans the right way. You need the air to be blowing through the radiator. If you're going to be doing it on the other side, it'll be pulling air through. You just need to make sure your fans are blowing in the correct direction. With the Seidon prep, we're going to move on to the case. First step, back plate. You're going to take it around the back and put it into place. As you can see, you have 4 bolts sticking through. Mounting nuts, which are grounded, or I should say have anti-grounding material on one side. Little washer is going to go against the motherboard and screw it onto the bolts. And of course we're going to repeat all 4. And let me grab the nut driver and give them a tighten up on all 4 using a Phillips head screwdriver. With the back plate and mounts in place, next we are going to mount the pump and contact block, as you can see. Now, something to note, the screw mounts for the contact block, as you can see, are spring loaded on both sides. They are 3 position. They do move. You need to pull out and they will move within 775 all the way in, 1155, 1156 in the center, and 1366 all the way out. We're going to put them right into the center, put them into the correct location. Now, just a matter of getting the pump into place. As you can see, thermal interface material has been applied. And we'll get our 4 screws started. And finally, tighten them all the way. They do have a stop point, so you will tighten until you feel the stop point. And secure it easy into place. With the pump in place, I have wired up the Y connector for the 2 fans, as the fan header is actually going to sit behind the radiator in this particular installation, going to make it be impossible to get to. So I'm going to tuck that out of the way a little bit, and we're simply going to bring our radiator up to the top. You can see we've got the opening for 2 140s or 2 120s. Bring it up to the top and get it lined up. And once we have it lined up, simply 8 small screws will go into the top. I should say through the top of the case into the radiator itself to hold it into place. Naturally, once you have one in place, things go a lot quicker. And a second, and you'll be able to let go and work freely with both hands. So with the radiator in place, as you can see, fan cables, of course, if you like, you can mount it so that the fan cables go behind the radiator rather than in front of the radiator, but you are going to connect them to, obviously, the Y adapter or to fan motherboard fan headers if you have 2 CPU fan headers. Then you've got your power, which I am going to put to a motherboard header, which is going to be supplying a constant 12 volts with no variation. And that's it. Simple, clean, easy. As you can see in the case, The Seidon 240, good looking cooler. Nice effect with the kink cables. Not a ton of wiring, obviously. You're going to want to tuck and hide your fan wiring, but good, clean, easy installation.